I don't really get what's going on. So we've kind of established this precedent now with the Grizzlies that teams are just going to fire coaches whenever they want. We had, at the $2, how many times does ESPN mute the crowd due to chance? I don't know. It being on ESPN is interesting because you really can't run. You really cannot run. So Michael Malone gets fired. I believe I saw a tweet. I think it was from Stein that it, according to this database they had, it's the second. It's the second latest in a season. Is that the right verbiage? That a coach has been fired mid-season. So we're talking about unprecedented stuff. Buying the Knuff hoodie is such a millennial purchase. Yeah, I'm aware, dude. I'm aware. It really is. Yeah, trust me. That's why I don't wear it. That's why I don't wear it. But anyways, we also have now, okay, so here's this stuff from Stein, because this is important context. Only 3 NBA coaches, San Antonio's Greg Popovich, Miami's Eric Spoelstra, and Golden State's Steve Kerr, have held their posts longer than Malone. Okay, wait. That's not what I wanted. But that's Michael Malone was one of the longest tenured coaches in the league. We've also now seen 2 NBA teams with winning records fire their head coach with less than 10 games to go in the regular season, Memphis and Denver. Before this season, it had never happened in the modern NBA. So we had never seen a winning team fire their coach with this little time left in the season until this season. We've seen it twice. So I do wonder, the first thing I thought was, did the Nuggets see what the Grizzlies did? And were they like, okay, the precedent's been set, let's do it. The precedent has been set. We're wanting to move on. The Grizzlies did it. It's time for us to do it. Or would this have happened either way? That's the question that I have. Obviously, the locker room had been completely and totally lost. I mentioned this. We talked about this briefly in the live show last night. I do wonder, what does this tell me? And you guys are going to yell at me for saying this, but I don't give a shit. I'm going to say it anyways. I wonder if this is a statement about, and bear with me here, guys. I wonder if this is a statement about the Oklahoma City Thunder and maybe the Celtics, maybe the Cavs. Maybe these teams are realistically looking at their situation and saying, we're not going to win. We have championship aspirations. The Nuggets definitely do. The Grizzlies do as well. But we have thoughts and dreams and goals of a championship. And it's not happening this year. So we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off now. But still, why now? Why not wait for the offseason? Malone's record would be helpful, right, in the playoffs. Right? I mean, I agree with you. This is shocking. I don't fully understand it. I would have to guess the locker room was probably so bad, and maybe the front office, the front office is gone, but maybe ownership looked at the situation and was like, hey, the situation is so bad. We do not think we're going to win in this current form. So why don't we try? And it was reported that they thought that this could be a jolt for the team entering the postseason. What does that tell you? They thought at the top, this team is not winning in the playoffs. We know the Jamal Murray situation is getting very strange with that hamstring injury. And so maybe we don't think we're going to win anyway, but maybe this is sort of this last resort type of thing. The team gets hyped up. They play for each other. You know how that shit works. And we're just going to fire him now. 3 years of wanting J-Kidd fired. Nuggets got a one step ahead and fired their most winning coach and championship coach first. And you guys want me to be honest with you? Unless, you could make the argument that, well, Kidd definitely was in the decision tree when it came to Luka getting traded. Okay, that's fair. Luka, our Kidd hasn't done really anything to warrant getting fired. I'm sorry to say. And I don't think Malone did really either. But this was in the works. Like this had been a long time coming. This has been a long time coming. When I did my New Year's predictions, my 2025 predictions, I did predict Michael Malone and Calvin Booth would get fired. That felt like a foregone conclusion that if they weren't going to win, that they would get fired in the offseason. Key point, the offseason, it happening now is just incredibly shocking. And then, of course, you had this. Anytime stuff like this happens, you look back on things that were said. That just the day before Michael Malone got fired, he had those quotes about Jamal Murray, that this hamstring injury, we don't even know what it is. It was day-to-day. Now we don't know. That, to me, sounded like a coach who was frustrated at there being an injury, of course, but also frustrated at the fact that what the fuck is going on here? Like, why is this guy not ready to play? And I'm reading the tea leaves. I've listened to a few Denver Nuggets guys talk about this. The Jamal Murray situation is interesting. If it were to come out that Jamal Murray and Michael Malone maybe didn't get along very well, that probably would make sense based off of stuff that people are talking about. But Michael Malone had this a couple of days ago where he said, here, I'll just play it. It's a pretty funny press conference.
I didn't think we played with any pride tonight.
I feel like they took that.
I really care. It's not my job to evaluate how they take things. My job is to be honest, and sometimes brutally honest. And tonight, it was a brutally honest message. And the guys that are full of shit won't hear it. They'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film. And I said, if somebody disagrees with me, please speak up. And nobody said a word. So, again, I'm not really concerned with how they took that message. My thing is being honest with how we just played. And the same thing that's been bothering us of late that I talked about pregame, the turnovers, the rebounding, was even worse tonight. And I didn't think it could get any worse, but it did.
So that's one of the things about Michael Malone, always very honest. Just saw that JT Toppin's returning to Texas Tech next year. Mike got fired because he's not a corporate weasel. So it had been sort of talked about for a long time. Like, I honestly think that it's years at this point that the Nuggets coaching staff and more specifically Michael Malone, obviously, and the front office, and more specifically Calvin Booth, had not seen eye to eye. Like, I feel like we're years into that storyline, right? Like, that's been a thing for a long time. Like, kind of a strangely long period of time. DQ, Draw Quick in the chat is our resident Nuggets fan, so he might have a little bit more to say about this. He might have a little bit more insight, but here's I've been looking at this dude's Twitter quite a bit as well. I always monitor Denver's like the fan base's reaction to certain things, and this is kind of similar to the Grizzlies thing, where I think a lot of Nuggets fans had frustrations with Michael Malone, and I think wanting Michael Malone gone was kind of a popular opinion amongst Denver Nuggets fans, right? Like, if they had flamed out in the postseason, then maybe it was time just to move on and try something new, right? Not that he's not a good coach, not that you haven't had a lot of success with him, but that it was just time to move on. Definitely time to move on from Calvin Booth, but time to move on. But it's similar to the Grizzlies situation, because there's a lot of Grizzlies fans who are frustrated with Taylor Jenkins. It's just the timing that's so bizarre. In the offseason, Booth was given full autonomy to explore a variety of different moves by ownership. It was supposed to be a collaborative effort among the organization, but Booth made the majority of decisions by himself without consulting most of Denver's brain trust, including Malone, league sources tell Mile High Sports. This is sounding very reminiscent to the situation that occurred in Draft Day, the 2014 film starring Kevin Costner, which I did watch over the weekend. Very similar, just kind of a rogue GM, just operating. Maybe Calvin Booth watched that movie. What do we think? I think it's possible. And before we move on, it's important to add some context. It's important to add some context to the Nuggets season. Obviously, they're 47-32. They're going to make. Well, I was going to say they're going to make the playoffs, but that's really up for question. Their highest percentage chance. I was listening to Zach Lowe talk about this. Their highest percentage chance currently by projections is to be a play-in team. So I mean, crazy season. They're 23rd in defense, so they have not been good defensively, and they've had guys in and out. Michael Porter Jr., there's just something about Michael Porter Jr. that's bothering me. I don't know if it's the podcast. I just get annoyed by podcast guys. They're 8-11 since March 1st, 23rd ranked defense, and I think more damning than anything, only the 10th best offense. You know, they're fantastic when Jokic is on the court, obviously, but the Nuggets need to do better than 10th offensively if their defense is going to be that bad. And yes, the Nuggets bench is the worst in the NBA. Yeah, I mean, dude, Calvin Booth has done a fucking dreadful job. Dreadful job. But it's also been widely reported that they're kind of working within the constraints that the ownership has given them. That they're not willing to spend money maybe at the level that you would want to see from a team that's desperate to win. Right? Or you would think desperate to win at least. Maybe I'm not giving Kidd enough credit. I just don't love it. I mean, Kidd's a fine head coach. That's it. He's fine. I have my same belief about Kidd that I've had for pretty much ever, outside of a few exceptions here and there when I was really upset. If you fire Jason Kidd, cool. If you don't fire him, cool. Aaron Gordon, yeah, Aaron Gordon has looked cooked. Hard to carry anymore since the trade. So I'm just a cool guy. You can't develop properly. Oh, here's a take. You can't develop properly under the Jokic heliocentric system. Not a single player is done without Jokic's touch. Mans has by far the most touches. Nobody talks about it. Well, I don't know if you could say that because Christian Brown's having a most improved player type of season. Like Christian Brown will almost certainly get. Do you vote like most improved? Did you just vote who wins the award? There's no second place, third place for most improved, is there? Well, I think Christian Brown will probably get some most improved love this year. He's developed quite a bit this season, especially offensively. I mean, majorly offensively. They've just taken chances. And what the Nuggets have done that's weird is they've not only taken chances by drafting young guys, Calvin Booth, and then letting go of older veteran players in an effort to pave a pathway for these young guys to play. But not only have they done that, but they've tied themselves financially to these young guys. Think about the Zeke Naji contract. Do you know how fucking bad, and no offense to Zeke Naji, do you know how fucking bad you have to be? And again, no offense. Do you know how bad you have to be for an $8 million a year contract to be unmovable? Do you realize how bad you have to be? $8 million a year, unmovable. You got to be terrible. And again, no offense. Full offense. Gerard Quick says full offense. It's not his fault he got the contract. It's not his fault. But they gave, Jalen Pickett, who has been playing a little bit more for them, they gave him a guaranteed contract immediately for a second-round pick. Tied themselves to him. And, his contract isn't nearly as big as Zeke Naji's, but the point still stands. I saw someone blaming Russ for this. That's lazy. Russ has been mostly good for the Nuggets. Yeah, Russ, as a veteran, as a vet minimum guy, has been more than fine for Denver. Has he had his slip-ups here and there? Of course. But he's been more than fine. Booth identified Holmes in the draft and moved mountains to get him. Now, that's not, I don't know how fair that is because, of course, he tore his ACL before he could even step on an NBA floor. So that one is a little, and to be fair, though, we're talking about Day'Ron Holmes, obviously. Drafted 22nd overall, tore his ACL. Or his Achilles. Tore his Achilles. I'm sorry. Didn't get to see him this season. To be fair, most people love that draft pick, and most people thought that, this is kind of a perfect guy to back up Jokic. Like, this is kind of what they've been looking for. This young guy who can play make a little bit, this big. They can kind of do similar things when Jokic is off the court. Jokic is the first center to average a triple-double for a season, but Malone was deep-throating him. He sent out multiple draft picks to force Reggie Jackson out of Denver and free up Pickett to be the backup point guard. That trade was god-awful. I don't know if you guys remember that. They gave up, 3 second-round picks to get off of Reggie Jackson's contract in the summer. Reggie Jackson making $5 million. I don't know if you guys remember this or not. I think that was day one of the draft that they made that trade. I came on after that, I did like a Twitter video, and I pretty much said, guys, I think the Mavs are fucked. I think the Mavs are fucked when it comes to getting rid of Tim Hardaway Jr. because the Nuggets just had to dump 3 second-round picks just to get off of $5 million for Reggie Jackson. Like, I think the Mavs it's going to be impossible for the Mavs to get off of Tim Hardaway Jr. And then the next day, the Mavs traded. I mean, this was a great move, right? Tim Hardaway Jr., I think 1 second-round pick. Was that what it was? And got Quentin Grimes. Or did they end up giving up 3 second-round picks? I don't remember the exact trade. But the Mavs trade looked like, the Luka trade in comparison. Booth and ownership were in lockstep about KCP not being worth going into the second apron, so they let him go. While Malone was a fan of Christian Brown and trusted him, he didn't sign off on letting KCP walk away and for nothing in free agency and wanted the veteran back. Well, I think that's always going to be a touchy part of the owner, general manager, coach relationship. Of course, the coach isn't going to want to let KCP walk away. But when you're talking about the financial restrictions, that becomes a problem. But I guess my thing is dude, you have, how old is Jokic at this point? 29? You've got a 30-year-old, just turned 30, happy belated, 30-year-old Nikola Jokic playing probably the best basketball of his career, which is saying a lot because he's a 3-time MVP and a finals MVP, playing the best basketball of his career, and you're not willing to go into the second apron. Like, are you fucking serious? And here's the thing, I kind of get like the restrictions that come with that. It's difficult to move pieces around when you're in the second apron, but they weren't able to do shit anyways. They don't have picks really to trade. They don't have like really easily movable contracts. So that's what I don't. You're already kind of restricted, not because of the second apron, but because you like don't have the pieces to move. I mean, we were talking about to get off the Zeke Naji. Like, could they package their 2031 first, which is the only first they have tradable? Could they trade that and Zeke Naji to get like Chris Boucher? Like that, those were trades that were being tossed around at the deadline. I gotta say, I thought for sure Calvin Booth would be fired. I thought 100% he would be fired. I was maybe 50-50 on Michael Malone being fired, but them just ripping the Band-Aid off and both of them being fired at the same time, at this point in the season is just fucking insane. I'm gonna go through Denver Short's timeline here. I mean, just absolutely crazy. The Sacramento Kings have officially clinched a play-in spot. Per DNVR, Calvin Booth hired a shooting coach named Mike Penberthy and wanted to rebuild the Nuggets organizationally. Michael Malone initially responded saying, "No, that's a coach. I hire coaches." One of the many examples of how these two are not on the same page at all. So Random with the $4.99. Hey, love the content as usual. I know you understand, but the people on Twitter are the loud minority. Can't let them trigger you like that. I mean, I'm just also fucking around to the top. You need serious help if you aren't willing to go over the apron for the best player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic. Like I would kind of get it if you were to say, "Hey, we have plans to do this. We have plans to do this. We have plans to do this." And being in the second apron fucks that up for us. Like we can't make the moves we want to move because of the restrictions of being in the second apron. But you can't make moves anyway. Like you're already you have restricted yourself because you can't trade Jamal Murray this year because he just signed a contract extension. Nobody really wants Michael Porter Jr., right? Obviously, nobody wants Zeke Naji. You don't have really, like, you can't trade Christian Brown. Christian Brown's probably a pretty valuable asset across the league, but you can't trade him because he's so important to your team now. Like, you don't have a lot of pick. You have already restricted yourself. You know? Jokic D rating is almost the same as Luka. Why isn't Jokic D talked about, man? It's talked about. It's talked about quite a bit. And I do think Jokic's defense has been atrocious this year. Absolutely. I don't care about any of the random advanced stats. Like, what was the one that's being tossed around now? I saw one. It's like, he has the most kick balls in the league. The most kick balls was one that popped up. Like, okay, bro. Like, okay. Let's get serious. Literally, no one talks about Jokic's defense. I don't know where you're getting that information from. Another anecdote told by DNVR guys about Booth and Malone. One of the stories was that Colin Gillespie and Jalen Pickett would be playing scrimmages, and Malone would come in and reorganize the teams to stack a deck and mimic thinks about Pickett's weaknesses in his game in fury. And mimic things about Pickett's weaknesses in his game in fury. Fake story? What's fake about this? I mean, it's the DNVR guys. They know. Probably Gilbert Arenas. Let's get Gilbert Arenas on a sideline. Absolutely nuts. Booth and Malone never liked each other, rarely spoke, and talked behind each other's backs. With the team struggling on the court, Nuggets ownership decided to fire both. Jesus. Some ran with the $9.99. Luka Juan, to be honest, even as a Luka fan, this is getting long. I still love Mavs, but no matter what they do, even if he's giving $100 million to charity, people will complain. Time to move on. Luka Jackson a joke. Yeah, we're about to talk about that. But yeah, this is like the This could be a big closure moment. Luka's first game in Dallas. It's not until until both teams are no longer playing basketball this season. I think we could realistically like move to a point where we do not need to talk about it at all. Right. And obviously one team will stop playing basketball way before the other team. Right. Of course, I'm talking about the Mavericks. We believe Warriors run that they're about to go on. Is it weird? I'm most happy the game's at 6:30. Yeah. Thank God the game's at 6:30. No, there's not. I'm like not full closure, but at least like the game is behind us. Like this has been hanging over it for like a month, 2 months. This game has just been hanging over us like a rain cloud. Michael Malone doesn't hedge the ball handler in a ball screen. Michael Malone doesn't rotate behind aggressive ball screen coverage. Michael Malone didn't build a team that can only defend ball screens one or two ways. I would kind of agree with this. Like, they handed Michael Malone a shitty-ass deck and told him to make it happen. But I don't know. I get it. I get why they wanted to do it. It is so insane to do it now. I mean, absolutely fucking insane. And I wonder if this is going to be a new trend where teams are like, okay, we're going to fire our coach anyways, but we feel like we were going to fire him anyways, and we're not going to win, so let's just do it now. And maybe we can maybe this will fire the team up. That's true, but the Nuggets play with no intensity and seem lifeless on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, I mean, it does. And David Adelman is the new coach, and I've seen people like I don't really know about stuff like this, especially for other teams, but David Adelman is supposed to be, people really love him. People really, really like him. Oh, the Zodiac GM has chimed in. David Adelman, synergy fit, A+. David connects exceptionally well with the entire roster, particularly the core players. He's a Taurus. David embodies consistency, stability, and is an excellent culture setter. While he can be somewhat stubborn in his views, the current construction of the team aligns well with his presence. With the playoffs approaching, the team's compatibility with David could result in a more favorable transition than anticipated, potentially fostering immediate chemistry. Holy shit. Somebody get Zodiac GM in a front office job. So it's funny because I only see Zodiac GM retweeted when he's right. It does make me wonder if he's ever wrong. The Zodiac GM, I only ever see it retweeted when a couple months, it's like, this was right. They gave Kyrie, Luka an F. Well, one guy did get traded. One guy did get traded. Hold on, let me find my anal bees before you continue. Click the X button on the top right corner of your tab. Please do not continue. Well, that's because another guy didn't like that guy and like Kyrie. I don't like speculating on this kind of stuff because it's just baseless speculation, and I don't want to put that energy in the air. But I've said it at the time, and I'll continue to say it. I don't. What's the proper way to say this? I don't think they make the trade. I guess never say never, but I don't think they make the trade if they feel as though if Kyrie would have been really upset by the trade. And that's just baseless speculation. This combination is deemed for failures. Pisces and Aries are extremely opposite energies. Luka Doncic may not publicly say it, but he may certainly feel it. Is that what was said about that? No, I don't. So let me, again, this is why I don't even like saying this shit. I do not think Kyrie knew. I don't. Controversial take, maybe. I don't think Kyrie knew. I don't think they told him they were going to do it. I don't think he even thought it was a possibility. I'm saying that maybe he shared frustrations. How about that? Maybe like frustrations were kind of shared, and the front office kind of thought, okay, we think that it wouldn't be like, I think Kyrie wanted to look out. See, I'm not even saying that. I don't think that's what happened. I think there was probably just shared frustrations. How about that? And I don't even like saying that because that then implies what you just said, and I don't think that at all. Let's see. Adelman connects well with Jokic, who's a Pisces. Murray, who's a Pisces. Gordon, who's a Virgo. Porter Jr., a Cancer. Cancer brothers, stand up. Westbrook, who's a Scorpio. Watson, who's a Virgo. Jordan, who's a Cancer. So who does he, like, what? So who does he not connect well with? Yeah, and this is my question. What was the synergy fit with Malone? A+. Why does this guy have me blocked? What did I do to this guy? Come on, man. Come on. The fact that you can see people who blocked you's tweets is so stupid. And the fact that it was done because so many people blocked Elon Musk and he was so upset about it is even funnier. I do want to see if I want to see what it was with Michael Malone. Another A+ synergy coach fired. So Michael Malone as a Virgo was an A+ synergy with the team. Oh, Memphis Grizzlies. Taylor Jenkins also a Virgo. Uh-oh. Bad sign for Virgos. Virgos are down. You never blocked anyone's slight? I used to take pride in not blocking people on Twitter, but that ship has sailed. I'm very generous with the block button nowadays. You're a Virgo? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The Kings utilize a solid starting lineup with great synergy against the Pistons. Oh, this shit's hilarious to me. Oh man, this is hilarious. Oh, we're even like, so who did they say? Battle of two very strong teams in terms of synergy. Wow, Houston was just a little bit stronger in their synergy, and they ended up beating Duke. Wow. Sometimes it's that simple. Ja Morant, a Leo. Maybe this segues us into Ja Morant. Ja Morant, a Leo with Leo Moon energy, showcasing a powerful double fixed nature. Leos can be quite stubborn, yet they also demonstrate remarkable consistency due to their fixed energy. This combination is characterized by loyalty, representing the true nature of a Leo. With relentless determination, confidence, and a personality that's larger than life, Ja truly exemplifies an amplified version of Leo energy.